What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gunfish TV. I want to thank you for tuning into my channel today. I appreciate it very much. Today, I'm actually doing a video that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and it's basically in regards to safety when, going out on a boat, whether it be fishing or just a fun day on the lake or river with your family. But there are some essential items that you always need to make sure that you have in your boat. Some of them being safety, some of them being tools or whatever to work on things if you need to. And a few things are gonna be fishing related, but we're mostly gonna stick with just boating, just the safety items of boating and what you absolutely need to have in your boat. So we're gonna discuss safety items, which is one of the first and foremost things that you need. And we're gonna go ahead and get started on those first, and then we're gonna move on into the other things that you need to have in your boat as well. All right, so one of the first things that you need to make sure you have in your boat, no matter where you go, these are an essential item. You have to have your life jacket. So in my right hand right here, this is an auto-inflating life jacket. And then this is your standard old life jacket right here. This one, you can either pull this right here and it inflates, or if you fall into water, it automatically inflates. This one here, like I said, the old trusty regular old life jacket. For boating with a family, this is a better option. This is more a fishing oriented type life jacket, but you want to make sure you have enough life jackets in your boat. So if you get checked, or for safety reasons, you have enough for your kids and whoever's in the boat. If you're one short, you're gonna end up getting ticketed, but also, you wanna make sure you have enough in case something happens when you're out on the water. And you really need to wear them when you're, underpowered by the big motor anyway. So right here, hooked up to my life jacket, this is a safety lanyard that goes to the kill switch. Now, kill switch is on pretty much every single boat. And what it does, if you fall out, that lanyard pulls that switch and it cuts your motor off. So it has to be hooked up for it to work. If it's not hooked up, it's not gonna work. If you fall out, the boat's gonna start turning in circles because the motor's gonna turn. And it's a thing called the circle of death, actually, and your boat spins around and it will run you over. So make sure that you have that hooked up. The next item, the good old throw cushion. Now, this is a requirement by many, many states that you have to have. Some you can have it, not showing, you just have to have it. Some states, like here in Virginia, you have to have it out at all times in your boat. So make sure you have a throwable device. That is, if somebody falls out the boat, you're able to throw that so they can grab a hold to it and keep them afloat. So that is an absolute essential item. All right, so another essential item that you need in your boat when you're out on the water is a first aid kit. Now, as you can see, this one is extremely old. I've had this kit for literally over 15 years. Now, everything in it is new, and I just keep the same one because it's small, but I have Band-Aids, I have triple antibiotic ointment in here, and different, gauze, all kinds of different things in case you have an accident out on the water. And I can guarantee you that if you get out on a boat enough, things are gonna happen. You're gonna need Band-Aids, you're gonna need, Neosporin or triple antibiotic ointment, you're gonna need it. So make sure you put a first aid kit that is well stocked in your boat. Now, something else that I always keep in my boat is peroxide. I always keep a bottle in here. That's really good if you get a wound or something. You want to put that in there and clean it out immediately. So make sure you keep some peroxide in there as well. I've used it many, many times. And also, as far as the fishing aspect of it, it works really good if you get blood on your carpet. You put that on there, it'll actually get the blood out. And if you have, if you're fishing a tournament, you can put a little peroxide in there to add some oxygen in there as well. But first aid, you need some hydrogen peroxide. All right, so now that we've went through the safety items that you need to have in your boat, you also need to make sure that you have some tools. When you're out on the water, things are gonna happen. You got a motor on the back. If you're fishing, you got a trolling motor on the front. You got all kinds of stuff going on. You need to make sure you have a tool kit that's well stocked with sockets, wrenches, an adjustable wrench, some pliers, all of that stuff. You want to make sure that you have it, because I cannot even think of all the times that I've been out on the water that having a toolkit saved me. You want to make sure you have some electrical tape or some type of tape as well, because anytime you deal with wires, some electrical tape can come in handy big time for a bunch of uses. but I've had wires come loose. I've had all kinds of stuff. So you want to make sure you have some electrical tape. Something else, I'm not going to get them out right now, but you want to make sure that you have spare fuses as well. So before you get on the water, make sure you look at your fuse panel, what size fuses it uses, what kind of fuses it uses. Make sure you have them so you have them in the boat. So if you blow a fuse, whether it be to an aerator or your ignition or whatever, you want to make sure that something small like that does not strand you out on the water. So fuses, electrical tape, and your tools. So something else that's even just as important is you want to have a set of jumper cables. Now these don't have clamps. These actually, they screw onto your battery post. So we made a style like that right there. But luckily I've only had to use these a few times in all of the years that I've boated. But when I needed them, they came in handy big time. I was able to either jump off somebody else's battery or off my trolling motor batteries to my starting battery. So you want to make sure that you either have jumper cables or a jump box, but still having jumper cables is a really good idea to have, even if you have a jump box, because if the jump box is dead, it does no good whatsoever. So make sure you have some jumper cables in your boat. All right, so something else that you want to make sure you have in your boat is you want to have some ropes to be able to tie your boat up to the dock or to the shoreline or whatever, so your boat does not float away. I got these right here. These are some nice elastic dock ropes, so they actually kind of stretch to absorb shock, so they're really nice to have. But you want to make sure you have rope or something like that to make sure you're able to tie your boat off. So make sure you get you a set of those. Something else that you want to make sure you have is a spare hub and a spare prop. Now I cannot believe even the amount of people that I know that go and take their boat out every single day on the water and do not have a spare prop for their big motor. I cannot think of the countless amount of times that I have had to use my spare prop on my boat. Now I know I fish a lot of rivers and I run up in a lot of woody, really nasty stuff, and I tear some props up, but a spare prop is an essential item. You know, you can spin a hub when you're running down the lake or something like that. So you need to make sure that you have a spare prop, because something, like I said, very, very simple, that could be a simple fix, you know, that could ruin your day out on the water. So make sure you have one of those. And one thing when we're talking about props is you have to have a prop wrench. So this is a prop wrench. This bad boy, all you do is you take it, you put it on the prop nut, you turn it, and you take it off. You need to make sure that you have a prop wrench. If you got a spare prop and no prop wrench, I can tell you, you are stuck in the water. So you need to make sure you get one of these. They are cheap. They're like 20 bucks or something from West Marine. This one floats. You need to make sure you get one so you do not get stranded for something simple like that. Like I said, prop, hub, and make sure you have a prop wrench. Also, some props do, and in my boat, I actually have a spare prop nut and a prop washer as well, because if for some reason your prop goes flying off and you lose all of that, you're stuck too. So I keep a spare prop nut and prop washer in the bag with my prop as well. So that's definitely something to make sure you have, you know, in your boat. That's not, maybe not an essential, but it really, really would be a good idea to have one. I make sure I keep one in my boat. All right, so something else while I'm up here at the front of the boat, and this is more for your fishing boats, but is a spare trolling motor prop. So make sure you have a spare trolling motor prop in your boat, and make sure you have an extra nut and an extra pin that goes in between the shaft and your prop. Because if you lose that, your shaft is just going to sit there and spin. So it's called a shear pin. So make sure you have one of those. You have an extra nut and you have an extra prop, because fishing, that can ruin your day if you break that bad boy. I had it happen to me earlier this year. I broke a blade off, and I actually had a spare prop, but it wasn't the right one, so it didn't do me any good. So make sure you have the right prop for your trolling motor, but make sure you have a spare. All right, so I have went over pretty much the essential items that you need to have in your boat, but there are a few other things that you want to make sure you have in your boat as well to make your day a lot more enjoyable. So through the years of boating, I've been without these things a couple of times, and it can make your day pretty tough. So I want to make sure you don't get out there without them. So the first item would be bug spray. Some days out on the water, there's biting flies, mosquitoes that get really bad. So you want to make sure you keep bug spray for you and your family in the boat, so that way you don't get stuck out there getting eat slam up, because it can make your day miserable. So the second thing you want to make sure you have, I have a little bottle in here, but this is sunscreen. So you want to make sure you have sunscreen so you don't get out there on the water and get burnt up by the sun. You want to protect yourself. And you know, at the end of the day, if you get burnt, that's not a good, fun thing to have happen to you. So make sure you keep some sunscreen in your boat as well. Now, another item that is to me, is absolutely essential, but is your good old toilet paper. So I keep a lot of toilet paper with me. You never know when you're gonna have to hit the woods. So make sure you have some toilet paper. I also have some dude wipes here as well. But, you know, that can make for tough times if you don't have toilet paper. So you need to make sure you keep that in your boat for you or whoever is on the boat with you, because it's not fun when you don't have that right there. So I think that pretty much concludes everything that I think you need to be able to go out on the water and have a fun, safe day, whether you're fishing or boating with your family. You know, safety comes first when you do this. It can be dangerous, but if you do it safely and you do it correctly, you can go out and have a really good time. And I basically went over things that you want to make sure you have so you can have a safe trip and you don't have small things happen while you're out on the water that can ruin your fun day. There's nothing worse than pulling your boat a pretty decent distance to a lake or river, and you get out there and in the first 15 minutes something small happens and you're stuck on the water. So make sure that you have these items with you. Make sure your batteries are charged up good before you hit the water as well, because that can really mess you up, and go out and have fun. So I really appreciate y'all watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time on Gunfish TV.